Is it the best investment opportunity of a lifetime, or is the stock market going to go down more? We are now down as much as the market was in about 2.5 years. So upside versus downside. I think, history has a way of making things humorous, and with all of the Teslas being keyed and all of the shenanigans going on right now, I think getting Tesla stock at whatever it is around $250, this is going to be like the people who invested in Apple before the iPhone. The stock market, whether it goes down more or continues to go up, we're going to have the situation where Tesla stock is going to go crazy. Could it go down to 200, $150 before it goes back up? Of course. But I think those who start dollar cost averaging into Tesla stock here the next 3 to 6 months are going to have a story to tell, and it's definitely going to be funny because people are going to be like, "Do you remember when everyone was keying Teslas? Well, that's when I bought stock, and now I am whatever retired or have a bazillion dollars because of that."
If obviously it doesn't feel this way because over the weekend futures came under pressure, but we know markets are really oversold. We know that investors have had a lot of de-risking. And this week, I think into April 2nd, investors have three things on their minds. One is they just don't know what the tariffs look like. They don't know if it's going to damage the economy. And I think third, many are just a little terrified of the policies of the White House. But post Wednesday, I think markets are going to have some visibility, and that allows us to take some of the selling pressure off. So, yes, I think it's possible that instead of us breaking down here and seeing markets under further pressure, we're actually got the right pieces
buy,
for a
though,
bottom.
into this without knowing what's on the other side of it? That is the fundamental question that people are sitting around trying to figure out today and tomorrow.
That's right. It's an interminable wait for people because it is still 3 days, and they're fearful that we could have 3 days of down 2%. But I kind of agree with Larry Fink. I think the U.S. is going to come out of this okay. I mean, Brexit's an example. Brexit happened, and the U.K. economy emerged okay. It didn't have a huge recession, and the stock market did okay. So for investors today, over the weekend, we had so many thinking the economy is going to completely fall off the rails after Wednesday.
Well, people are starting to say slowing growth and persistent inflation. So you put those together, and you get the stagflation. Yeah, that's death for.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of distortions of the economy now, right? Because we know people are buying cars and wine ahead of tariffs, and that's creating inflation.
Hopefully, they're not doing it the same. Cars and the wine.
Do you think it's pushing up our growth numbers that we're seeing at this point, between retail sales and other places, or is it too small to distort things on that great of a level?
I think that's a little disconnected. I don't think there's enough wealthy people buying cars and wine ahead of tariffs to even affect the economy at all. I think that's silliness. But I think the argument that we are, potentially headed into another boom. Is are tariffs bad? Are they going to have some negatives? Yes. Could we be looking at a huge rebound in the market? Also, yes. So again, could have more down, but we could have a huge upside. There you go. Tesla at 250 right now. Guys, 3 to 6 months from now, Tesla could be 500. It could be, it could go. Tesla in 3 years you could add a zero to that. It could be at 2,500 a share. If you don't know about Tesla, you got to research it. The cars will be surpassed soon by their energy business. They sell semi-sized batteries. The largest, I believe it's the largest industrial battery facility ever opened in China that Tesla owns. You've got the software with full self-driving coming online. You've got multiple companies within Tesla that could by themselves be the largest company in the world, and a lot of that is going to start posting revenue this year, next year. The Tesla stock is going to go absolutely insane.
I think it's possible economists are only dialing in the negative consequences so far, but not the positive, because rates are down and gasoline's down, and there could be some pull forward of demand. So we might end up having better growth, so less stag, and maybe the inflation stuff is more distorting, and so it's not as stagflationary.
you've had some of your recent calls that turned out to be prescient, bullish calls had to do with inflation not being as bad as people feared. Is that still what you think? Because some of the numbers have at least given a head fake that maybe it's still around, and you throw in tariffs. We just heard what Goldman Sachs say, a half a point higher on the PCE than they thought previously, and 3.5 on the PCE is not going to allow the Fed to relax.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting because Goldman did raise their inflation forecast, but then they're talking about more rate cuts.
I know, which is because of growth concerns.
Yes, and I think we'll have a glimpse of what Fed Chair Powell's thinking because he's speaking Friday after the jobs report. And I do think that it remains a more dovish Fed than many expect. I mean, I think that's what was revealed after the March FOMC meeting. And not that I'm saying it's going to put a reversal of markets here, but I think investors are a little too scared heading into winter.
Bitcoin's testing recent near-term lows, I guess, again. It's been under 80. It's not quite there yet. It definitely is a risk-off trade, and when the NASDAQ goes down, Bitcoin seems to go down. But it also really likes the idea of more Fed rate cuts or the Fed being more lenient. So if we get that on Friday, is this a decent time to be stacking?
I think so.
You do, at 80.
Yeah, I think.
Hey guys, if the Feds cut rates on Friday, I think the market's going to go nuts. End of this week and next week. But what do you guys think? You got any insights? What stocks are you looking at? Do you think Tesla's going to be back on track to be the biggest company in the world quickly, or do you think all of the craziness with politics is going to impact their short-term results and stock price? Let me know.